Hey, what's up, guys? So today I actually want to talk to you a little bit about brush guns, my versions, or what I think of a brush gun is, and the guns that I kind of use as a brush gun. Alright guys, so first off I want to actually kind of give the definition of a brush gun to you guys. This also can be, a lot of people call it a woods gun, maybe even like a truck gun. You know, it's going to be a short gun, almost kind of going on to like a branch off of like a scout gun type of mentality. Now, brush guns, normally they're not necessarily a heavier bullet, but it's a slower moving bullet. You're looking at 200 yards and less. The majority of times you're looking at 100 yards and less. So you normally are going to use a caliber that has a lot of punch whenever it comes to the kind of like the short range. You don't need a 30-06 that has a lot of ballistic capabilities out at 400 yards. You know, you're looking at like a 30-30, for example. A 12 gauge slug or a 20 gauge slug, for instance, 35 Remington, which is pretty much the same thing as a 30-30, or even a 45-70. You're looking at these kind of calibers. Now, I got three on the table right here, actually the truck bed, and I'm going to go through them, and I'm going to explain a little bit about them and why I think that they are a decent brush gun. So, first one, this is kind of like the end-all be-all. This is a Model 94 30-30. I am not saying that you only can get a Model 94. What I'm saying is a 30-30 lever action is probably one of the best guns you can have for a brush gun. One of the qualities of a very good brush gun is a very quick second shot capabilities. You have a lever action, and you can get back on it. And you can get back on it. Just like that. As simple as that. Another very good capabilities, which this is the only gun I have on the truck bed now that has this, is iron sights. This right here is a very good peep sight. Okay, you have very good front sight. This is a great gun that I have that I can shoot a deer very comfortably with about 100 yards and in. Now, big thing with this 30-30 or any of the 30-30s, they're very short. They bounce very well right in front of the receiver. You have this bullet you can see right here. Okay, see how that's kind of like flat on the top? It's a round nose, but it's kind of flat on the top. This right here can go through brush or sneak through brush. That's the big thing about brush guns. You need to either go through some leaves, go through some twigs, or you need to be able to place your shot. Now, 30-30 is a very widely known caliber, very widely used caliber. Here in PA, I can almost guarantee you 50, maybe 60% of the deer that are shot a year in PA, probably with a 30-30 lever action of some sort. Or also a 35 Remington. Let me not forget that out. It's an older caliber, but it's pretty much the same as a 30-30. Alright, next one's up on the list. I have a 12 gauge slug. Alright. I have to put this on here. It's a very good possibility for a brush gun, very good option. Now, I would honestly suggest a 20 gauge slug to people more often. I have a 12 gauge shotgun, so I got a slug barrel for it. Now, this is a Mossberg 835 Ulti-Mag. Right now, I have a rifled barrel in there with a 4-power scope. It's a fixed 4-power. This is a very good compromise to not having iron sights. If you hunt, and a lot of times I get a lot of my deer early in the morning or kind of later in the afternoon, where iron sights, they tend to not work so well. Scopes work phenomenal though. A fixed 4-power can get you a very good shot out 100, 150 yards. Now, the reason why a 12 gauge slug or like I said, 20 gauge slug is a very good brush gun is that you're shooting a very large projectile. This is a 300 grain slug. This slug is actually a fairly light slug for a 12 gauge. The reasoning why is that it is a sabot slug and it is pointed on the top quite a bit. It's not flat. Remington makes the buck hammers. You have Lightfield that makes, like saboted, flat lead nose slugs. That's what I would honestly suggest for you if you wanted to use a 12 gauge for, or 20 gauge for a brush gun or anything like that, because with these really pointed saboted slugs, they might hit a branch, might hit a twig, and kind of veer a little bit off course. But you are relying on this huge slug going at a pretty decent speed, just kind of blowing through the brush. Like I said, this is 300 grain. You get slugs that are 1 ounce, 1 1/4, and you really aren't going to have to worry about the brush at all. And even if you do hit some brush, maybe go a little bit off target, a lot of times you're still going to be in the kill zone because these have such a big kill zone. Now, with the slug gun, you got to remember, you got a pump there, and you got a very quick second target accusation. You got this. You have 3 rounds in there, so you're able to make a shot and then another shot and then even another shot fairly quickly. Only downside to what I would say to a slug gun is probably because the long barrel. It's just sometimes it's a little bit heavy, sometimes it's a little bit long to kind of get in and around brush. All right, guys, you've seen this one before. This is what I think is probably one of the best deer rifles that you can get your hands on nowadays. This is a Ruger Model 77 Mark II. This is the Frontier model. Got this a few years back. Actually came out a year before the Ruger Gunsight Scout. It's really the base of the Gunsight Scout without the added, threaded barrel, the detachable magazine, and the iron sights. But this gun right here, this is a phenomenal gun that you can use for a brush gun. 308 is a very good caliber for a brush gun. The reasoning being is you can buy a gun that has a short barrel. You can get in and around trees. You can get through a lot of brush, through a lot of thick cover, and place your shot on a deer. Now, 308 is not necessarily a caliber that a lot of people would consider a brush gun material. The reasoning being is it's a fairly pointed bullet. You're going to hit some brush that might veer off. This all depends on the bullet that you get. You get some interlocks like the Hornady American Whitetail or Remington core locks or anything like that. A lot of times they're going to be able to do the job. You get some fancy SST bullets, there's a very good chance, well, I'm not going to say a very good chance, I'm going to say there is a chance for the bullet veering off after hitting a twig or brush. Alright guys, so you're probably wondering, what are you talking about with this gun? Why would this one be a brush gun? It doesn't have iron sights. It's a bolt gun, relatively slow, has that like old action to it, old style action, so it might be a little bit slower. All those things, yes, I get it. But this has a 16.5-inch barrel. I mean, you can get in and around stuff that you normally wouldn't be able to with any other calibers, or guns, I should say. Now, a 308 is a very good caliber whenever it comes to short guns or short barrels. Does not lose that much velocity. You don't need a long barrel to get the velocity out of a 308. This gun is just phenomenal with it. I'll be honest with you guys, this gun's a little bit heavy. You got that laminate stock, you got this big action in here, but it balances really well. I have this Leupold 2-7 scope on this. It's a very good scope for a brush gun. You can crank that the whole way down to 2 and you can get quick target accusations real quick. And it's just, and that's one of the nice things about it. But then also, if you do just so happen to walk into a kind of a clearing of a little bit, you can put this thing up to 7 and get a really good clear shot. Now, one reason why I would put a scope on a 308 is because, like I said before, it's not necessarily a brush gun caliber. It's a caliber or it's a bullet that is going to hit a branch and it might veer off, hit some brush, hit some leaves, it might veer off. So having a scope on a 308 is very important for placing your shot. You can get a little bit closer to the deer, maybe go a little bit onto the edge of a brush pile, especially with this short gun. You don't have to worry about it hitting anything, spooking the deer. And having that scope, you can kind of place your shot between the brush or branches at least the best you can. I think probably the perfect brush gun, other than a 30-30, or if it's not on this table here, I'd say a Ruger American 308 in the Predator version. You're talking about an 18-inch long barrel. You know, get some iron sights on that, get a drilled and tapped front iron sights, and I think that honestly that could be one of the best guns out there. Put a 1-4 scope on there. Very, very good scope for just about any purposes. Kind of just, or a very good gun for just about any purposes. Kind of like this, but it's much lighter. So I hope you guys learned a little bit today about brush guns, kind of what a brush gun is, what kind of qualifies as a brush gun, and what kind of attributes a brush gun has. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys took something away from the video. And if you guys have any questions, please put them down in the comments. If you like the video, give it a little bit of a thumbs up. All right, guys? You guys have a good day. Thank you for watching.